Hey everyone, it's Alexander Robinson. Welcome to the channel, and this is my review for Asteroid City, which is the latest movie from Wes Anderson and has an all-star cast of people like Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Steve Carell, Liev Schreiber, Tilda Swinton, Jeff Goldblum, Bryan Cranston, Adrien Brody, Ed Norton, just so many people, like with a lot of his films. And this movie takes place in the 1950s in a small town called Asteroid City. A father and his 4 kids have their car break down in the middle of the city, so the father calls his father-in-law to come pick them up. And even though the family's car has broken down in this city, the reason this family ends up in Asteroid City is for the Junior Stargazer Convention that the father's son is a part of. And they meet several other characters and encounter some very interesting extraterrestrial activity. Wes Anderson is one of those directors that every time a new movie of his comes out, I'm always looking forward to it because his films never fail to amuse me. But also his movies have been really hard to review because a lot of traits of his, to a T, are in every single one of his movies. The dry sense of humor, the quirky, monotone characters, the very unique production design. All these aspects seem to appear in his movies that I just feel like I'm repeating myself every time I review one of his. And with Asteroid City, if you're a Wes Anderson fan, it's pretty much another one of his movies, and I'd even argue that this is one of his better ones. My 3 favorite Wes Anderson movies are Royal Tenenbaums, Fantastic Mr. Fox, and Grand Budapest Hotel, but I couldn't tell you in which order I like these movies. And Asteroid City is another one of his movies that I would find myself rewatching again in the future, because there's a lot to admire. The way this movie is actually told is pretty interesting. It actually opens up with an introduction by Bryan Cranston, who plays the narrator of the film, and basically the way this story is told is that it's a play within a movie. There are several scenes that are in black and white and in full screen that pretty much focus on all these characters being actual actors, and the movie that you are watching in color is actually a play they're performing. It's a neat idea and a clever way to tell this story that only Wes Anderson could do, but there were also a few scenes during the play rehearsals that I felt were kind of unnecessary and dragged the movie down. And sometimes it has to do with the fact that there are actors that appear in these scenes but not in the actual play within the movie. But I have to admit, while these scenes do slow the movie down, they're never boring. There's not a scene that I could think of where I go, yeah, you could cut that out easily, because then you'd be cutting out some really charming moments between these actors. And again, much like with a lot of Wes Anderson movies, his characters are very monotone, very dry, and quirky as well. And you've got a lot of people in this movie that he's worked with before, like Jason Schwartzman, Tilda Swinton, Ed Norton, Adrien Brody, Jeff Goldblum. We've seen these people before in other Wes Anderson movies. And then you also get people like Bryan Cranston and Scarlett Johansson, who have worked with Wes Anderson before, but only in Isle of Dogs. And this is the first time we actually get to see these actors in a live-action Wes Anderson movie, and they fit perfectly within Wes Anderson's world, especially Scarlett Johansson. And Tom Hanks also fits perfectly in Wes Anderson's world, and I feel like this was a role that was originally written for Bill Murray, because Tom Hanks very much plays this character as if Bill Murray would be playing this role. Story-wise, it feels like one of those old 1950s films that takes place in the middle of the desert and aliens are involved. The only way I can describe certain scenes of this movie is like Close Encounters, except it has a dry sense of humor about itself and doesn't feel grand in scale the way that film does. And if there are any themes to grasp onto, it's that a lot of these characters find themselves in this city for a long period of time and kind of have to wonder, what are they going to do with their lives? Because Jason Schwartzman's character is a war photographer who doesn't really have the biggest approval of his father-in-law, played by Tom Hanks, and Scarlett Johansson is an actress. Well, I mean, all of them are actors technically, but Scarlett Johansson is an actress playing an actress in the play, if that makes any sense. And she's basically trying to figure out what goes on with her life, and all of a sudden, this weird extraterrestrial activity throws everything into a loop. So that's the closest I could come up with in terms of the theme and moral of this movie and what it's about. Other than that, I think this is a really entertaining film. The production design is just as odd and fitting for a Wes Anderson movie. The actors are fantastic. It does run for a little too long, I think, but overall, I was never bored. I'd say worth seeing in your lifetime. As of right now, this might be fighting a couple of movies for my fourth favorite Wes Anderson movie. Really good, really enjoyable, and I'd highly recommend it. And there you go, that's my review for Asteroid City. I hope you enjoyed it, and now I want to know what you guys think about the movie. If you've seen it, what did you think? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.